This is Glow in the Dark Radio. The science fiction podcast with original independent science fiction written and performed by Mike Luoma, with music by Kevin MacLeod. The Vatican Assassin Trilogy and The Adventures of Alibi Jones by Mike Luoma are available in ebook, trade paperback, and audiobook wherever you find your books online. Get links and details at glowinthedarkradio.com. This is the Science Fiction Podcast, Glow in the Dark Radio. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma, and I have Chapter 10 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest on the way on this episode. Alibi Jones and his new Covert-Ops team are on their very first mission. They're undercover as traders, free traders, on the fringe of the Solar Alliance, and they just sold a supposedly stolen shipment of lobster meat to mobster Tony Yang on the planet Argentium. It all seemed to go fairly well, as they negotiated with Yang and delivered the goods, and scanned his property, searching for alien tech he'd stolen, rare Devresium tech, and which they are supposed to steal back. And they seem to have gotten away with the scanning and delivery and all that, but before they could get any further, Yang went and kidnapped Dr. Krishnavurti, Krish, from the Solar Alliance, to evidently help him operate his stolen tech. So now Alibi and his Covert-Ops team have been told by the Solar Alliance Interplanetary Force, SAFE, who they work for, their bosses, they've been told by them that they're coming in. They're going to come in and rescue Krish tomorrow, guns blazing. Or hopefully not, but certainly, without any covert operation whatsoever. It's going to be an overt operation to grab Krish tomorrow morning. So now Alibi's group has to grab the stolen Devresium tech tonight. Change of plans. Now, even before they could get a start on that, Alibi's wand lit up, which it's not supposed to do, but it did. And Krish himself somehow reached out to Alibi directly to ask for help. That's where we left things last time. And we're going to pick up right there as we get into Chapter 10 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest on this episode of Glow in the Dark Radio. A huge thank you to patrons who help keep this podcast going. Please support the podcast if you can by becoming a patron for $2, $5, or $10 a month. It's all voluntary. You can do that at patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. And again, a huge thank you to those of you who do support the podcast and who are patrons. I can use your support in other ways as well. If you have a chance, please leave a positive review or rating on a book or a podcast if you've enjoyed it. It goes a long way, and I always appreciate it. We're going to get into Chapter 10 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest next on Glow in the Dark Radio.
Under 30,000 feet of water, the exploration rig Liger has discovered an oil field larger than Saudi Arabia. With oil so sweet and pure, nations would go to war for the rights to it. But as the team starts drilling exploration wells in their race to claim the sweet crude, a deep rumbling beneath the ocean floor shakes them to their core. Something has been living in the oil. Paul E. Cooley's The Black is a techno-horror thriller reminiscent of movies such as Leviathan and The Thing, and puts terror right into readers' ears. The Black, a free podcast novel available from shadowpublications.com and iTunes. Ocean exploration will never be the same.
here's Chapter 10 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest on Glow-in-the-Dark Radio.
Krish? Shush, Krish cautioned. I'm in the big manor, up on the hill, under guard. How did you activate my wand like that? Alibi asked. Project Mods, Krish whispered. Not important now. Well, actually, it is important. Alibi, thanks to the mods, your wand can create a field around you that will make you invisible to the manor's security systems. I didn't know it could do that, Alibi said. It couldn't. Can now. I just sent it the programming, Krish said. I was able to... Gotta go! Alibi's wand switched itself off. Hope Krish is okay. Alibi looked at the wand. Maybe I have an easy way in. He scrolled through a few different settings to see if he could spot what Krish had done, but something was still installing itself. Wasn't evident yet. He'd have to check later. He tucked the wand away and walked up the hill. You are going somewhere? Alibi recognized the growling voice before he turned and saw Cat walk up beside him. Cat, thought you were dealing with the embassy staff. I was, and then I wondered where you were. So I decided to find you. Was it that easy? You are going to the manor to somehow figure out how to get inside? Don't know what you're talking about, Alibi said, while nodding. He held a finger to his lips, trying to let Cat know he should be careful in what he said. I am going with you, Cat said, wherever it is that you are going. Wonder if the wand's field can cover two of us. Okay, I guess. Thanks, Cat, Alibi said. The two of them made their way up the hill towards the manor's main gate. Before reaching it, Alibi led them down a side street so they could circle around the wall and grounds of the manor. He shot sideways glances at the wall as they walked, looking for openings. Didn't seem to be any. Save finding a convenient side entrance, his plan was to walk around to the back gate, the delivery gate they'd gone in through earlier, try to distract the guards, and walk in. It wasn't a complex or well-thought-out plan. Improvising, Alibi said aloud. What? Cat asked. Talking to myself, really, Alibi said. Trying to figure out a way in. You don't have one? Cat asked. Not as such, Alibi said. Oh. That seemed to silence Cat for the moment. They walked down the street without talking, Alibi looking off to his right at the wall every so often, looking for any other entrance besides the delivery gate they were heading towards. Alibi felt the wand vibrate in his pocket. Drawing it out, he saw Krish's new programming was available. Hold on, Cat, Alibi said, stopping the Dakor. I want to see something here. Alibi triggered the new program pack. The wand called back to the ship on a secure subchannel and grabbed data on the manor, giving Alibi a pinpoint map of where Krish was being held on the wand's display. Alibi saw how the program was working and added the data on where the power source was being kept. Same place, Alibi said. They've got Krish working on the power source, looks like. Alibi showed Cat the display. Cat studied it for a minute. Now 2 floors below ground, Cat said. It looks like all the important parts of the manor are below ground, Alibi said. Seems to be how Yang built it. Bunker mentality. Well, Cat said, it is a very nice bunker. Looks like a regular place from the outside, Alibi said. But above ground seems to be all servants' quarters, kitchens, storage, stuff like that. Yang has living shields, Cat observed. I suppose he does at that, Alibi said. He liked Yang even less. Alibi poked around the new program pack and found something marked Field Nullifier. Alibi chuckled. That sounds like Krish. He said he'd figured out a way to make me invisible to the manor's security systems. Bet it's this. Will it work for both of us? Cat asked. I don't know, Alibi admitted. Wondered about that myself. As they approached the back delivery gate, Cat pointed out the other problem awaiting them. We might be invisible to the electronics of the manor's security systems, Cat said, but we are certainly visible to the human components of that system. Alibi again held his finger to his lips to quiet Cat. He didn't know what sort of listening devices might be working this close to the gate. "We'll get in line," Alibi said. He gestured at the waiting delivery transports lined up at the gate. Cat and Alibi sauntered over to the transports, walking along them away from the gate until they reached the end of the line of 7. A Dakur and a human stood guard at the rear of the last transport. They turned, eyeing the newcomers warily, as Alibi and Cat took up a position at the end of the line, behind them. "Hey," Alibi said, nodding as they queued up. The Dakur didn't move. The man grunted. "Huh," he said. He turned back towards his transport. The Dakur turned as well. "Uh-huh," Alibi said. He looked at Cat. "Guess we'll wait here." They stood in place. Another transport pulled in behind them. 2 Dakur got out of the cab. Alibi's translator didn't pick up the growled exchange between them, but one went to the rear of their transport and took up a secure position, so he assumed they were merely deploying security. Another transport glided up into the line behind them. Then the transports ahead in line started to move, the first moving up and through the delivery gate ahead. Alibi and Cat moved with the line. Alibi was hoping the people behind them would assume they were with those in front of them. If they were lucky, the 2 guards in front of them assumed they were the advanced security for the ones behind. It was a lot to hope for. He tried to think of ways to reinforce that idea, if need be. For now, they'd keep quiet.
"How long is this going to take?" the Dakur guarding the front of the transport behind them complained.
Alibi and Cat turned to the other Catman. "Looks like 3 more transports before ours," Alibi said, nodding towards the transport in front of them. "Probably 20 minutes more if they're going at their usual pace."
"You know, huh?" the Dakur said. "Been here before?"
"Yeah, we deliver here a lot," Alibi said.
"First time for us," the Dakur said. "We are apprehensive."
"Heavy security, but they get you through pretty fast," Alibi said. "Should be fine."
"Good," the Dakur said.
Alibi thought he sounded nervous. Alibi had another thought. "My associate and I often help first-timers," Alibi said. "I'm surprised you didn't look us up. It can be a tricky process getting in the first time."
The Dakur growled. "I am out of money."
"Sorry," Alibi said. He backed away a little. Cat turned and walked off ahead, to about halfway between the transports.
"It is also an expensive process getting in the first time," the Dakur said. "The embassy charges a great deal to arrange these meetings. And then, to have to sit and watch the human eat, and be humble as we greeted him after? All a bit much to ask."
"Didn't mean to bother you," Alibi said. "And as you can see, we're already working." The Dakur looked past Alibi and Cat at the transport ahead of them.
"That other human looks angry," the Dakur said. "And he's looking right at us."
"He may not like me talking to you," Alibi said. "I better go see him." The transports ahead began to move as Alibi turned. He turned back to the Dakur. "You might want to follow a little further back," he said to the Dakur, gesturing with a nod towards the transport in front of them. "Just for the sake of room."
"Good idea," the Dakur said.
Alibi walked over past Cat up to the man behind the transport in front of him, who kept scowling and staring at Alibi as he approached. "My boss wants to know if there's a problem," Alibi said in a quiet voice as he reached the man. He didn't want the Dakur behind them to hear. "You look angry."
"He's a little close," the man said. He squinted at Alibi. "You with him?"
"Freelance," Alibi said. "I help first-timers." The man looked past Alibi, back at the Dakur.
"Looks green," he said.
"And cheap," Alibi added. "I'm still hoping to get paid."
"Well, tell him to keep back," the man said.
"Already did," Alibi said, "just before I came over. Thought that might be the problem." The man's scowl softened.
"Okay then," he said.
"I'm going to stand in front of our transport," Alibi said, nodding back towards the Dakur. "Said I'd be a buffer so he'd know where to follow, if you're okay with that. Trying to teach him the way it's done."
"Sounds okay," he said.
Behind him, his transport lurched forward, sliding up 2 spots as the next 2 transports at the front of the line went in through the gate together. He turned away to jog up and catch his charge. Alibi waited as Cat caught up to him.
"Is everything all right, Alibi Jones?"
Cat asked. "I think so," he said. "Walk ahead, but wait for me a few meters behind that transport in front of us."
"Will do,"
Cat said, though he cocked his head, looking at Alibi quizzically. He walked ahead. Alibi walked back to the Dakur. "My boss thinks you're following a little close." "Sorry," Alibi said. "He wants me and my partner to stand between our transport and yours so you'll know about how far to stay back. Hope that's okay."
"I am sick of these rules," the Dakur said. "But if that helps, fine. I will stay back behind you."
"Sorry," Alibi said, "and thanks." He turned and walked back up to Cat. "I'll be damned if this works," Alibi said, "but I didn't know what else to try. They each think we're with the other one right now."
"Do they?"
"So far." The transport ahead of them slid up to wait in front of the gate. Alibi broke out his wand and turned it on, keying Krish's package to generate a null field around himself and, hopefully, Cat. He turned all system resources over to the field nullifier, hoping that full power would help hide them both. He dropped the wand back down into his pocket. "We'll walk around the transport on the right side, away from the checkpoint, as it rolls through," Alibi said to Cat in a low voice. "If challenged, tell them you already showed your ID and keep walking. Always act as if you know exactly what you're doing."
"That is the secret, is it not?"
Cat said. Before Alibi could answer, the transport ahead began to move. Alibi and Cat jumped to jog up on the right as the man and Dakur guarding it went over to the left to show credentials. Security scanners hummed, built into the gate's right wall. Hoping the wand's mod was working, Alibi and Cat walked past them alongside the transport as it went through the gate, into the grounds of the manor. No guards on their side of the transport. Relying too much on their scanners, we're lucky. They continued walking along with the transport until they'd made their way about 50 meters down the delivery path. As the human and Dakur transport guards began to walk around to their side of the vehicle, Alibi grabbed Cat and pulled him off the path into the dark.
That was Chapter 10 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest, part of the Adventures of Alibi Jones Chronological Omnibus on Glow-in-the-Dark Radio. Well, Alibi Jones is certainly freelancing now, or at least improvising, but it seems like, thanks to Krish's upgrade of his wand, Alibi and Cat are back inside of Yang's compound unseen. We'll see what happens next in Chapter 11 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest, coming up on our next episode. Once again, a big thank you to patrons for helping to keep the podcast going. You can do it too. I would love to have you help support us for $2, $5, or $10 a month if you're not already doing so. Please head to patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio to find out what that's all about and sign up if you'd like to help support the podcast. And as I was mentioning earlier, if you have a chance to leave a positive rating or positive review on a podcast or a book, please do so. All helps, I'll tell you. That is all for this week. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma. Thank you again for listening to Glow in the Dark Radio. Glow in the Dark Radio. This podcast presentation is copyright 2026 by Michael F. Luoma and is protected under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License, CC by NC-ND 4.0. Music by Kevin MacLeod. You can find his work at Incompetech.com. Mike's books are available in ebook, paperback, and audiobook, wherever you find books online. Get links and more details at glowinthedarkradio.com and mikeluoma.com. This has been a presentation of Glow in the Dark Radio.